just watching this channel. I found Why Burn the Terrible. It's pretty good. He goes over stuff and like decodes it, like entertainment figures and music videos and stuff. He was going over John Lydon and Africa Bambaatan's World Destruction from 1984, which it sucks because I love that song. But you know, a lot of stuff, you know, that you're like, you have to gotta kind of separate the art from the artist. You know, we have to be able to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to display all those beautiful paintings I have from Austria. So, in his video, he was talking about how they do all these Masonic poses in the video, and he asked this on another artist too, like, is it the producers of the video that make them do this? Is it the artists themselves? And I don't know. I think it could be a combination of both. I'd say the artists themselves definitely understand what they're doing. Sometimes I would say the artists themselves understand it better than, you know, the producers on the video, because a lot of times they have more clout. See, I don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. Dancing. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I was going to go and then he was going to hit me. I know how this shit goes, but yeah, it could be both, but usually I'd say it was the artist, right? In that case, like he was saying, like what's the point of doing these motions or these that forms, I guess, using a martial arts term, where you get into where you're copying poses. I think what it is it's probably components of like a larger work. Whether or not anyone sees this stuff is irrelevant. They're putting their will and intent out into the ether, out into the universe. It's probably something larger, you know, that they're working on. These are spell components. Just like I always say, there's a cartoon witch has a pot and she needs an ear of newt, a bat wing, you know, whatever it is. These are just components of a larger spell that they're attempting to put across, or a ritual that they're trying to do. And by virtue of the fact that it's being filmed means it has more energy because there could be potentially more eyes on it. It doesn't matter who actually sees it. It's the intent. A lot of magic is about intent. What the possibilities of something are. So they use videos as a great way to take advantage of the possibility, their intention that someone might see it. But whether or not anyone does, I think it's still effective as for the spell. It can still be used for the spell, and I don't think the effect on it is changed whether or not people see it. It's just something they're doing as part of the ritual and the spell. In my opinion, you know, who knows though with this stuff. Yeah, Wyvern has a bunch of stuff about John Lydon, and he only has he has 10K subscribers, so it's perfect for me. Nowhere near the 50K walk away. I'm lowering it to 20, I think, though, because I can't fucking trust anybody. But yeah, so he's not controlled as far as, in my opinion, in any way. And just the way he talks and the way he presents things, he's not, you know, he's not a COINTELPRO or anything like that, in my opinion, anyway. And it sucks because, like, I know all these entertainment figures and musical heroes are all connected to this shit in some way. They have to be, otherwise I wouldn't know they are. But I always loved John Lydon. By the way, he seems to be praised his honesty. But watching his videos for the first time, that kind of started to crack for me, because he keeps bringing up how John Lydon talks about how he's a truth teller. And I'm like, you know, do I have that in my head because of John Lydon? You know, I got argued from before when I did a video on the Sex Pistols. and how they shut him out of the process of making that movie, the pistol movie. That's why he was mad. I was saying, yeah, because John, he's not going to lie about some stupid shit, so he wouldn't have okayed half the stuff they were doing in that movie, so they had to shut him out. And I talked about John's story, how, and now, see, I can still get taken in by the system and the fucking matrix, because I think I got taken in on this John Mind thing when I described this to you. In my video about saying why I think he didn't want to do the movie, or he wouldn't have done the movie if they let him know about it. They kind of hid its existence from him. They're making it. And I was like, well, because he tells the truth. He's not going to put up with any lies or, about the band or bullshit. And then I told the story because of, here's what I think, why. He had meningitis when he was a kid. And when he woke up, he lost his memory. So he didn't know who his parents were or anybody was. He said, so to him, telling the truth became very important because, he wanted to be sure people were who they were. To trust people. And I used to parrot that story and also say, yeah, because he's a truth teller. John always tells the truth. And then, that all comes from him. Did he have meningitis? I don't know. It's just a story he repeats all the time. And I got it drilled in my head about him being a truth teller from fucking him. Do you know what I mean? It all comes from him. And I'm just like, duh. So as aware as I think I am sometimes, or I claim to be, I still get taken in by stuff all the time. So as I'm watching his videos, and I'm like, yeah, he's fucking, my idea of him being a truth teller all comes from him, and he mentions it quite a bit. And he brought that up too. It's like he's always saying how he tells the truth, and that's like low-level spellcraft. That's like lesser magic. That's fucking mind control. Anything to do with the mind, like trying to hypnotize or brainwash, is usually considered lesser magic, even if it's done on an industrial scale, as is the case here in the realm we're in here. Yeah, so was I just taken in by him? Yeah, probably. I can still get tricked though. But another thing he was bringing up too is that his wife Nora, she comes from an aristocratic background, and he's like a punk kid from Council Flats. How does that happen? And he hooked up with her pretty early, right after the Sex Pistols took off. All these guys, when all of them get into fame, in these situations, they get assigned a girl. And usually their early life goes back to the same place. And so did Nora. So did Nancy Spungen. It's just another way of control. So that thing with Nora is she was there real early. 77, I think. And she's always been with them. He's never been with any other women. I've heard people before talk about John in the early days, and when they first saw him showing up at Nora, they were like Steve Jones and the guys were all shocked because they've never seen him with a woman before. I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird, huh? I've never seen him with a woman before. Wonder if that's and then he had his buddy Rambo, his caretaker, minder, handler, who he says was just his best friend that was with him all the time. And I never thought there was anything weird about that. I was like, yeah, that's his, he has they've known each other since they were kids. I say, I don't know that. That's just what John says. I'm like, oh, that's nice. He's got his friends. He needs someone he can really trust. So this guy Rambo, probably his handler and or boyfriend. When you get married young, these guys get married young, it's kind of they don't have to worry about, always proving that they're heterosexual, because it's very, looking at it now, there's a lot of stuff that's obvious to me that, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm having this disintegrating veil moment over John Lydon, and it sucks because like I said, they're all like that. You know, whenever I like a band or like an artist, I purposely try not to look into their shit because it doesn't take very long to uncover all the stuff. Sometimes they just make it so blatant, though. You know, like Duran Duran, I've always tried to avoid all that, looking into that stuff with them since such a big fan of the band, or the Damned or something. But then in their music or their videos, they just shove, they shove stuff in your face, and it's like, motherfucker, I want to still be able to listen to you. You know, but I can kind of separate myself from that. And I know Christians get really mad about that. Like, how can you listen to any music and be a follower of Christ? It's like, yeah, you know, because he wants us to be fucking unhappy, sullen, no music listening motherfuckers, because that's what he wants, right? And if we don't follow that, he's going to make us burn in hell, right? Fucking Christians are crazy. I mean, I'm a Christian, but I'm a Christian in the sense that I follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. It is kind of hard to figure out what his teachings are because they're so obfuscated. There are messages in there. The real truth is in there. Like, they could fuck with it. Like the Bible, you know, they did fuck with it. King James really fucked with that fucking prick. But they can't take out the truths that are in there. They're kind of protected, whether they're protected magically or whatever. They can mess around with things written in a way that puts it into their arena of fucking control. But you gotta deep read into what was put in there. You know, what Jesus was really trying to say. You know, God can move mountains. You know, just remove God, you can move mountains. He was telling you can do all this stuff that I can do. You know, like he's telling, is it Matthew? Yeah, Matthew, get out of the boat. You know, get out of the boat. He's like, I fucking can't walk on water. Get out of the boat. I don't know if he couldn't tell him, Matthew, you can walk on water. I don't know if he could say that. Isn't Matthew now? I think it might be John. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. But, yeah, he has to talk and communicate in a certain way. And the reason is because of God's status here with this realm, which is a much larger story, which I do go into sometimes. And I probably will again, because I like to cycle these things back around. But yeah, I don't know, whatever. Nevermind the Bollocks is still the fucking greatest piece of music ever recorded. Not really by them though. Like John Lydon sings on it. That's all I know for sure. I know Chris Spedding played all the guitar on it. The song's probably written by Tavistock, you know, as per usual. But, you know, what are you going to do? I still enjoy this stuff. I still like to pretend that it's all real. It's, you know, I'm a lifelong pro wrestling fan. So, I'm very good at suspending that kind of critical thought when I enjoy stuff. So, I'll just do the same thing. Thanks for dropping in. Until next time, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.